All right, South Alabama and Troy. Next up, we've got Troy 6.5 point home favorites, 46 being the total here in this one. A nice little matchup here in the Sun Belt here between these two teams. South Alabama, this team's been erratic as all hell this year. I mean, when you look at what they've done, they went to Oklahoma State and they pounded Mike Gundy's team 33-7 in Stillwater. Then they come back the next week, they lose to Central Michigan at home, as a double-digit favorite in that game. Stunning loss. They lose to James Madison, but they're competitive, and James Madison's really good, as we know. And then they crush ULM. They crush Southern Miss. Looks like South Alabama's back on track. And then last week's 11.5-point favorites, and I'm so mad at the way they played, especially on offense, because I had the over in that game, and it fell short because of ineptitude, quite honestly, by South Alabama. Too many mistakes offensively from Carter Bradley, and fumbles and turnovers and stopped on fourth down and all this nonsense. Or they racked up more than enough yards to score more than 20 points, and they just stubbed their toe constantly. Could not finish drives, could not put points on the board, even though they were moving the football in that game. So they lost 33-20 as 11.5-point favorites to the Cajuns last week. Now they're playing this Troy team that I ain't stepping in front of Troy. I tried that one time, and I think it was with who was it? I think it was Georgia State a few weeks ago, and Troy was just too good for them. This is the best defense in this conference by far. They're excellent. They are terrific defensively. And look, if they get anything from their offense, which they were able to do against Texas State in that 31-13 victory over the weekend, then it's going to be tough to beat this team. I'm still not a Gunnar Watson fan, but he did have almost 400 passing yards against Texas State. It was a much better game from him, one of his better games throwing the ball. But he doesn't have to be great. Just do enough on offense, and the defense will take care of the rest. I was so impressed because Texas State with Finley at quarterback, that's a real good offense. And Troy pretty much put a blanket over them in that game on the weekend, winning 31-13. That's a good offensive team. Texas State early in the season, they scored we know how many points they put up against Baylor. It was very impressive, and they've put up some big points in other games. And Troy just said, it's not going to happen on our watch. We're the best defense in this conference. We're going to shut you down. And that's exactly what they did. And that, like I said, Texas State, the Bobcats, they have a solid offense. So I'm extremely impressed with what I've seen from the Troy Trojans defense this year. And I'm done getting in the way of this team. So for me, I'm not saying I'm going to take Troy, but Troy or nothing for me in this game. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, South Alabama turnovers,
just too flighty for me to trust them.
Yeah, in this series history too, Troy's taken care of them. I think they won 6 in a row, and most by this number. Last year, I think it was 10-6 was low scoring, but they have the defense. You're right. Like for me, under the touchdown, it's like you would need more. It's not that I'm just rushing to Troy, but under the touchdown, I think you lay it here with them. I would need a lot more points to even look South Alabama's way, and I don't trust them at all. When I go through all the numbers with Troy's defense, it's just been really, really good. And they're at home. They should be pumped for this game. I'm leaning to lay it here as long as it's under the touchdown with Troy.
Yeah, last year at home, it was 10-6 for Troy. It was a close game. It was a defensive battle. That was at South Alabama, though. This year, it's at Troy, their home field. And before that, though, the last 4 years they had played head-to-head, 38-17, 37-13, 29-0, and 31-24, all in favor of Troy. So all by a touchdown or more, except for last year. So, yeah, definitely I'm not getting in front of Troy.
They're rolling
that way on Thursday night.